as it sets itself up.
Harvey, you should probably do another quick intro as it becomes a live stream so folks know what it is.
Yes, this is the Maryland Heights Township and Creve Coeur Township Democratic Club's joint meeting. And we introduced all of the current office holders, and we're about to have the chair of the Missouri Democratic Party, Russ Carnahan, address our group. So Russ, the floor is yours.
Harvey, thank you. And thank you for all the officers and members and good Democrats in your townships there in St. Louis County. This is really the backbone of our party. And not only that, you're in key swing areas in St. Louis County that are going to make a big difference in keeping amazing elected officials like Tracy McCrary, and also being able to swing some seats our way in this critical midterm election. I could not be prouder of our Democratic Party and our elected officials, and frankly, our voters from last Tuesday's election. We saw obviously some spirited contest among great Democrats, from multi-candidate races to one-on-one races to Democrats who had no primary at all. But in the end, we've got a strong Democratic ticket, unifying quickly to really face our opponents in November that are the real challenge and have frankly been the real obstacle for progress in our state. And we saw something that frankly none of us have seen in our lifetimes in the primary last week, and that is over 80% of voters turning out in unison, Democrats, independents, and Republicans, saying not just no, but hell no, in landslide proportions that we've never seen in recent Missouri history, rejecting Republican bad ideas including a tax scam that would jack up sales taxes on virtually everything, harming people with fixed incomes and disproportionately benefiting upper incomes. And after years of attacking voter-passed progressive measures, as recently as the 24 election, the Republican legislature actually tried to take away voter power in the initiative petition process. And again, that's a very popular power. And I think voters have had enough of that overreach, that power grab, when Republican elected officials in Jefferson City just want more power for themselves at your expense, to take away your power, your rights. So we have a great theme going into this general election. I think we need to be running on a platform that includes finishing the job, for voters to vote no on those Republican politicians that have been part of that agenda, part of those bad ideas that really don't make everyday lives better for Missourians. So I want to also just mention part of the work that I'm honored to do as chair is represent Missouri at the Democratic National Committee. Last week, we had our summer meetings in Austin, and we did something very important nationally for Democrats, and that is we passed the rules package for the delegate selection process for the 2028 presidential selection process that included, for the first time in over 20 years, changing the order of early states. So we have 6 early states now, starting with states from 1 from each region of the country, for a total of 6 early states, with about a week in between each of them, that will be followed then by Super Tuesday that currently has about 18 states on it. So it's really built in a much more diverse process geographically and the makeup of the populations of those states that better represents the country and the Democratic Party. And I think is going to be a great battle test for what we expect to be a big group of Democratic candidates. And I'm very excited about that process. So we have a lot of work to do in the next 70 some days. And I hope that you all will not let up one bit. We cannot afford that. We have the other big thing happening by September 8th. That's the deadline for the Secretary of State to certify the ballot for the fall election. And we expect courts to rule on and force the Secretary of State to certify the congressional maps to go before voters in the fall. And as soon as that happens, the court has said it will revert back to the prior maps. So we're expecting that decision just in the next few weeks, and it will be critical in terms of how we go forward. So we have a lot at stake, but these midterms, we have so many opportunities. We've set a record in candidate recruitment this year. We have 97% of all the seats in the states covered with not just candidates, but really great quality candidates that are out there working hard every day in every corner of the state. So the table is set for us. Trump has, in the tank nationally in the polls. He's been underwater in Missouri in the polls. So we have a wonderful opportunity with what's before us to really make progress in the supermajority in the legislature, flip the second congressional district, and you all right here in St. Louis County are going to be critical to all of that. So could not thank you enough. I do want to flag for you the date. Please mark your calendars for Saturday, September the 26th. That is going to be the date for our annual Truman Dinner in St. Louis. It's our biggest event of the year. And we have sold out the Truman Dinner the last 3 years. So if you've bought a table or bought a ticket the last few years, we expect to sell out even sooner this year. So I urge you to join us, support that effort in what we're doing at the state party, in the good work we're doing to strengthen our party, to support our candidates, win elections, and really make things better in this state. So with that, I'll pause. And Harvey, happy to answer questions if folks have them.
Yeah, are there any questions? While we're waiting for people to formulate their questions, Russ, my understanding is if the 2022 map is restored, it does not mean that we will have a new primary across the state. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is only primaries that were close enough that the loser petitions and gives good reason why the primary should be rerun again. Would that particular district have a primary rerun?
If I was a judge, I could answer that, but
Okay.
that's one theory on how the courts could do that. There are a number of, it's not practical or feasible to have do-over primaries, in my opinion. There's some precedent back in the early 1930s where there was a fight over congressional maps, and they forced all of the congressional candidates to run at large statewide. Again, I don't think that's practical or doable. And so it really is a train wreck of the Republicans' creation. The one good piece of news you all may have seen in the last few days, the Missouri Supreme Court, on its own initiative, sent a letter to the lower court saying they needed to expedite this to get it done so they have time to resolve it before these deadlines. So I think the high court that will ultimately decide this is really pushing the lower courts to get it done so they can get it and provide guidance. But I do not know what guidance the court will give on that question. People got elected in districts that, one set of districts, and they may be asked to run in a different set of districts in November. And how do you certify those primaries? So it's a mess.
Thank you. I did see a question come in the chat Sydney, are you able to manage the chat?
Yeah, the question in the chat says, is the state Democratic Party going to fund door to door with door hanger literature about Democratic candidates and issues like was done in the Obama campaign?
I wish we had the resources of the Obama campaign, so I'll start with that. We are talking about that idea where we could have a statewide version of a door hanger that could be customized, that could have perhaps our one and only statewide candidate, Quentin Wilson, who's running for auditor, that can include the state legislative candidates and potentially a couple of the ballot issues that the state party would endorse. We actually have our summer state committee meeting this Saturday in Jefferson City, where we expect to look at that. But we would very much like to be able to do that. How broadly we're able to do that, we would obviously focus on the targeted districts first for those resources. But we also are setting up a lot of um, um, social media resources that also are easily shareable that could go along with that. We also, I would add, this reminds me, the DNC has made a big push with regard to voter registration priorities. A lot of 501c3 groups have done voter registration over the last many election cycles. And frankly, it's not been great connecting those new voters to our Democratic candidates. While the Republican Party has kept voter registration under their party umbrella, they really kicked our butts in voter registration. So we're looking at some resources that can be deployed for really targeting likely Democrats in targeted areas that are unregistered. They can be focused on between now and the voter registration deadline in October 6th. So we'll be sharing that information out soon.
Thank you. Are there other questions? I have another question while people may be formulating. Statewide, what do you see as the top couple of issues in the races that you see statewide? I know locally a lot of it's focused on affordability and things like that. Is that a statewide issue, or are there other issues that are surfacing?
I would start with the national lens, Harvey, where I think you've seen a theme about cost, chaos, and corruption at the national level. And you see that theme continued at the state level with the Republican leadership of the state and the state legislature, where, again, they've done things that would hurt cost and affordability of regular people. And they've particularly attacked our rights to vote on issues. So I think those are going to be, again, I think the economy is going to drive a lot of these issues locally, but we have a just super unique issue in the power overreach, the power grab of Republican politicians in Jefferson City. So again, going back to that theme of let's finish the job, vote no on these Republican politicians that have been trying to take your rights away. I think that's going to be a really important theme here in Missouri when we have 80+% of the voters agree with us. And it won, it lost in a landslide in every single district in the state, every county. And that's rarely happened in our state. So that is going to be I think, a dominant issue and a real opportunity for us to continue that theme that the Democratic Party, we're going to stand up for regular people on cost and affordability, and we're going to stand up for their voting power on issues at the polls.
Yeah, those Amendment 4 and 5 results were really a gift, absolutely a gift. And I hope
Indeed.
every legislator and candidate leverages that. Absolutely. I see Nancy Hirsch, you have your hand up. You're muted.
Oh, shoot. I put my question in chat. You just didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple more, and there's another one after mine.
Okay. Sydney, you want to go through the chat questions?
Yeah, I thought it was more of a comment than a question. I didn't see the question. I'm very concerned about Trump's efforts to subvert the November election, with DOJ watchdogs and ICE intimidating voters, calling for an emergency and interfere with election.
Yeah, I guess it really was more of a what have you heard? What do we know? I guess I think it's much more real than people like to believe.
I think you are 100% right. And what
That's
we
good.
know is what Trump says out loud. And everybody should know by now to believe him when he says this crap. So I think he and Republicans are desperate to do anything they can to stop what I mean, they can read polls just like we can. And they know if there's anything close to a normal election, they're going to lose in a landslide of historic proportions. And they're doing everything that you can imagine, and some we probably even can't imagine, to mess up and disturb that process and question it in ways that probably have never been before. I think that's exactly what we can expect. In terms of what is being done about it, I know you've all seen publicly the DNC has announced some unprecedented efforts to train poll workers and constitutional observers in states around the country. And so we expect to be getting information about that to be able to share for people that want to train and be a part of that. But that's part of what we need to be doing to prepare for what we expect to be coming.
The next question in the chat says, "What is the plan if Wellman wins and Speaker Johnson refuses to seat him due to the election being, quote, rigged?"
Um, Again, by our Constitution says the House is the sole judge of its members. And certainly Speaker Johnson has gone off the deep end to do whatever Trump wants. But I think the courts have not always sided with Democrats on these kind of issues, but I would say more times than not on these just straight up traditional election issues they have. So I would feel, again, I don't think any of these things are slam dunks, but I think there's clearly precedent to be able to not have that level of shenanigans. But again, we have to be ready for anything.
The next question is, what is the party message regarding Medicare for All? Leader Jeffrey's non-statement on Meet the Press yesterday blew up my morning group chat. Why aren't we supporting Medicaid for all as a general concept?
I think Democrats support expanded and inclusive health care across the board. Democrats have different ideas on how to do that. So I don't. I think we have to continue to have a strong message on that. People care about it. They understand it. They support us because of it. So again, different Democrats have different versions of how we get there, but that's got to be part of our message. So I don't want to see us at this point to have Democrats fighting Democrats over the best way to do that. We've really got to fight the Republicans who are actually trying to take it away. We are fighting to make it better. So that's the big contrast, and we'll have lots of great debates and get the best Democratic plans and ideas on board. That's one of them that has great merit, but there are others have other ways they want to get there.
That was the last question in the chat for now.
Thank you. Any other questions? Last call for questions. Okay.
Can I, Harvey, before I jump off, I just want to give a shout out to Mike as the county's new ED. He's doing great work with the county party, and it's great to have him on board. And just a big thank you to Mike for all you're doing.
Well, you just did my introduction for me. Mike's up next. But thank you very much, Russ, and thanks for all you're doing for us. I know it's not an easy position to have, and it's appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great night. Take care.
Okay. And with that, Mike Galagher. You already had a really nice endorsement and introduction. Mike is the new executive director of the St. Louis County Democrats. The Central Committee has grown and is maturing and now has a really good executive director, Mike Galagher. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Harvey. I appreciate it. And just want to echo as well, just a big thank you to Russ for serving as the chair of the Missouri Democratic Party. It is a massive responsibility to keep this ship moving. And Russ has stepped in and just for the past number of years has really helped to keep this ship moving in a positive direction for Democrats. We're growing stronger every single day, every single election. And Russ's leadership, as well as Yvonne Reeves-Chung, our vice chair, they've just done an amazing job at helping to bring some great stability and forward momentum to the party. So thank you back to Russ. As Harvey mentioned, I'm the executive director for the St. Louis County Democrats. To give a little bit of brief perspective on what that is, Democrats, we love to organize locally. We love to organize in our own backyards. And so we've got a great structure set up where we like to break things down a little bit. So we've got the National Democratic Party, the DNC, who runs things on a national level. Then we have each of the state parties have their own structure that helps to organize at the statewide level. So Russ and Yvonne are the chair and vice chair for the Missouri Democratic Party. We then break things down even further into counties. So we have over 100 counties across Missouri that each county has their own structure and group that helps to organize at the county level. And within the county, here in St. Louis County, we break ours down even further into townships. So St. Louis County is made up of 28 different townships. These are two of them, the Creve Coeur and Maryland Heights Township Clubs, where each committee, each township has a committee man and a committee woman that is elected to represent that township as the most locally elected Democrat to help with the party structure. So with 28 townships, 2 people per township, that's 56 people that make up our central committee for the St. Louis County Democrats. The St. Louis County Democratic Central Committee has hired me to be their executive director to help try to bring some structure and organization to all of the chaos that we have across St. Louis County. It is some chaos, but it's absolutely a great adventure and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm just honored and humbled to be in this position to help guide this portion of the ship as best as we can into some of these future elections that we've got. I also just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who participated in our primary election just 2 weeks ago. As Russ mentioned, this was a historic year for having Democrats on the ballot across the entire state. Here in St. Louis County, we had over 75 candidates step up to run for 42 of our races across the county. Every single race had at least one Democrat in it. So we are well represented. We have Democrats on the board. If we're not even on the board and on the ballot, then we can't play the game. So a huge thank you to each of those 75 plus candidates that stepped up to run, and to each of their teams, each of their families, each of their supporters. You know, being a candidate once you announce that you are running for office does not mean that you automatically become an expert overnight in anything about campaigns. And it takes a massive army to help each person be able to put those ideas forth and to put together a campaign to really represent what the voters are looking for. And I am so glad that we had so many races that had multiple candidates in them. I think a healthy primary process helps not only the candidates, but the party be able to navigate what the voters are actually wanting and what they are speaking about. And it gives us an opportunity to listen to what values folks are representing. And just because a candidate was not successful on primary day does not mean they were a bad candidate. It just means we had a lot of great candidates running. And so I'm so grateful to all the folks that stepped up to run. I hope we continue to see them involved in all of our different facets of elections in the next couple of years, and even just getting involved in local organizing in the party. But it was an amazing historic day that we had great numbers across St. Louis and across Missouri. As Russ mentioned, over 80% of the voters told Republicans that we don't like the way that they are doing legislation. If that is one of the main messages that we heard from the results of that election, is to stop voting for people who waste your time and money in office, right? We want to elect people who are there to do the work, who want to do the work, who want to represent you, and not continue to try to overturn the will of the people every single chance they get. The voters have spoken, and that's what we need to listen to, and that's what we're hoping will drive some great Democrat success in November. November 3rd is only 78 days away. 78 days from right now, we will be sitting there patiently waiting as polls have closed 34 minutes ago, waiting for those first drops of votes to come out. And we are excited for that. However, I do want to backtrack just a second that, this election, we have our candidates set, the slate is set, but it is never too early to start looking towards our next round of elections. We have municipal elections coming up in April, and we also have the 2028 elections coming up. If folks were unhappy about the choices that they had on their ballot, or maybe their candidate wasn't successful on primary day, the time is now to start planning and preparing for these future races. St. Louis County has over 90 municipalities within our borders. There was a list that I've been working on and had quite a few people helping with that was passed on to me. Across those 90 municipalities, we have over 1,000 different elected positions that we can work on filling with Democratic voices, Democratic support, Democratic-minded individuals. And that's how we really start to build our bench. When we have folks at the most local levels, then we have more great candidates that can start stepping up for some of these state races. So the time is now to start thinking about those municipal races in April. And absolutely 2028 is on the radar. We've got all of our statewide races except for auditor. We've got Quentin Wilson, who's running for auditor this election, but we'll have governor, attorney general, lieutenant governor, secretary of state. Even one of our United States senators will be up for election in 2028. So start thinking about who you want to see as those candidates and start putting the effort in to support them and help elevate them now. It's never too early to get that started. Turning to a question that I think it was, Monica asked in here, brings me to my next point of, okay, now that the primary has passed, what are we doing? And that's a good question. We've got 78 days, as I mentioned. It's the focus of the county to be working directly with our House candidates as best as we can, our state House candidates. Those are the most local races that we've got on this ballot coming up. So the best that we can do to support them, amplify them, elevate their campaigns and their efforts that they're doing is what we are focusing on. With in mind that as we're working in those state House districts, also supporting all of the up ballot candidates as well that appear for those districts. So all of the state races that are underneath Tracy McCreary's Senate district, we're going to be out knocking doors, talking to voters, encouraging folks to not only vote for the state House, but state Senate, and as well as the congressional race and our statewide auditor. So we want to encourage you to get involved with each of those candidates. In St. Louis County, we have 27 state House districts that fall within our borders. Of those 27, 8 of those districts are not currently held by Democrats. 2 of them are vacant. and 6 have Republicans in them. So we are focusing mainly on those districts as top priorities to be able to turn out the vote in those areas. Many of those 8, if not all of those 8, have an amazing chance at being able to actually win this cycle if we can have enough support behind them, whether it's knocking doors, making phone calls, donating money, sending postcards, whatever it might be. So I encourage you to do whatever you can to adopt one of those candidates. If your state house candidate does not have an opponent in November, I see you, Nicole Greer, or if any of you live in other districts that are pretty safe blue districts, we would love to have your support, and we would love to have your help in any of these other districts across West County and South County that aren't safe blue seats yet. The more folks that we can have focusing on those areas, the better opportunity we're going to have to flip those. With that in mind, we have a couple events coming up so far that have been announced. Next Saturday, August 22nd, we are partnering with the House Democrats Action Fund to do a day of action across West County and South County. In West County, we're going to be meeting at 10 a.m. on that Saturday, just next Saturday, to do some door knocking. We're supporting 5 different House districts. We've got District 101 in Chesterfield, District 110 in Wildwood, District 100 in Baldwin, 88 in Eureka and Ellisville, 98, which is Manchester and Valley Park. So that's going to be 10 a.m. We're doing a canvass next Saturday. And then at 1 p.m., we're going to move over to South County and work with those candidates. We've got Representative Michael Burton that we're supporting to help keep his seat. We've also got Kat Summers and Meredith Sumonick running in 94 and 95 in the Oakville-Tesson area. And Matt Vitale is running in House District 96 to help defeat Brad Christ. That's Sunset Hills and Fenton area. So 10 a.m. West County, 1 p.m. is South County, and we'd love to have your support there. You can find information about any of those on our website, stldems.org, or any of our social media channels that you can sign up to get the address and links and all the info that you need there. Another opportunity to get involved coming up next Thursday, August 27th, is our United We Stand fundraiser. This is an opportunity for the county to come together after the primary to celebrate the candidates that were successful on primary day, to thank all of our candidates who stepped up to run in the primary, and to join together to figure out and make sure that we know that we have enough support to be able to make November 3rd a positive election day for all of us. That is a fundraiser. We're going to be having it at Westport 360 next Thursday, August 27th, 5:30 to 7:30. You can find information about that at our website, stldems.org/united. You can find tickets and sponsorship information there. We're going to be having our 2 congressional nominees and our county executive nominee be our speakers for the night to help get us fired up and excited for the work ahead. So we hope you can join us for that. It'll be a great night to connect with candidates and supporters and campaign teams and dedicate ourselves to what's coming up. After that, our next couple events that we have another 2 days of action planned already, September 26th and 27th. Like I mentioned before, September 26th will be in West County. September 27th will be down in South County. That is the same weekend as the Truman Dinner, which Russ mentioned, Missouri Democratic Party's fundraiser to bring in support for the year. But definitely keep an eye out for more of our events. You can find all of our events at stldems.org to stay up to date on what's happening there. In addition to supporting our candidates and picking one of our candidates to be, their ride or die support, adopt a candidate between now and November 3rd, those 78 days. And I encourage you to do every single thing that you possibly can to help at least one of those candidates. If that's making phone calls, if that's coming out to knock on doors, if that's helping to write postcards, if that's sharing their information on social media, everything goes a really far way for them to help amplify their message. If you're able to help donate funds to help fuel their campaign, absolutely, they will need those. So please consider making a donation to any of those candidates if you've got the resources to do so. In addition to that, I would encourage you to join your township here. each township is the most local way that we can organize our neighborhoods. You know your neighbors, you know your friends, you know the folks in your community best and what they respond to. I know our township committees have been working hard with Harvey and Sydney and LaDonna, especially in these two townships, putting events together and getting the word out to keep everybody informed, but they need help to do that. So I'll be shameless and say, we need you to step up. If you can help plan an event, if you can help put together a social with folks in your neighborhood, maybe inviting people over for coffee or tea to help hear from one of your candidates, or even some of the township folks about what's coming up. If there's, inviting folks out to dinner at some point, to have a community discussion about what's most important to you. All of that information helps our candidates and helps build a network at the grassroots level to be able to accomplish all that we're looking to do here. In addition to that, again, I just want to stress what Russ had mentioned, and it seemed had come up in some of the conversations before, that our main talking point at this point that we are seeing is the most successful, is to stop voting for people who are not working for you. Stop voting for people who are wasting your time and your money in Jefferson City or in our legislators. The people who want to do the work, the Democrats who are stepping up, who are excited, who have been fighting tooth and nail to have these difficult jobs as representatives, they are the ones who we need to get behind and make sure that we send to Jefferson City and beyond. So that way we've got folks who are actually working for us and that can turn Missouri into a much better place that we can be proud to call home. And I know you're each doing all the work that you can. If you can have conversations with 5 of your friends just about things that you're hearing in the political atmosphere, the more people we can get activated, the better. And so I would encourage you, invite some of those friends to join the next township meeting that we've got. Invite them to come out with you to support one of the candidates or one of our events at the county level. But I'm so grateful to each of you for showing up tonight, letting me into your homes to chat with you for the evening. And I know we're going to have a strong November 3rd because each of us are fired up and ready to make this a positive day. So I just want to say thanks again and definitely open to any questions.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mike. Are there questions? Well, again, while people are formulating their questions or typing them in, Mike, I have a question. You mentioned the number of muni elections. How many positions are open, are being voted on?
How many are being voted on in this election? I'm not positive on that number, but it was
in April.
A collaborative list of over 90 municipalities across the St. Louis County area. And within each of those municipalities, there are over 1,000 different elected positions. Not all of those 1,000 are up for election this April. They may be staggered each year, but there's over 1,000 opportunities for us to elect folks at the most local municipal levels. And that's a project that each of us can absolutely work on to find candidates and to have those conversations to support people to get involved.
I don't mean to put you on the spot because I know you're focused on November right now, and that's the right place to be focused. Per chance, do you know when the registration deadline is for people that want to run in a municipal election?
The municipal election, I believe it's later in December is the deadline for that. And I'm pretty sure Sydney can clock me on the correct date, maybe.
It's usually the last Tuesday in December, I believe. That would be the December 29th this year.
Again, I appreciate the focus on November. I think we all need to put our energy into that. But my gosh, Mike, you make a great point. We need to build the bench. We need people that get experience with their local offices. Robert is a good example on the school board. There's been a number of prominent Republicans who have started out on local municipal positions, school board in particular. One comes to mind who made it very far into our legislature, Republican. And that's how they've been building their bench. We need to do that. It's very important. Any
Absolutely.
questions for Mike?
I do see a question from Karen about where is the St. Louis County Dems office located and will you have yard signs for the candidates? We currently do not have a physical office. I am working outside of my home or inside of my home at the moment. I would love for us to be able to have an office moving forward to help support volunteer opportunities and different events that we can have. A couple of things with that is the logistics of where across the county that we actually have that. If you know of anybody that has real estate, whether it's a commercial spot or even just a shopping plaza, something like that, we're looking for somewhere that has about 2,000 square feet that we can use to host different events and activities. So if you know folks that are close to real estate, folks that know about those, as free as possible as we can get would be great. Or if anybody's interested in helping to contribute to fund an office, we would love to have that as well. In terms of yard signs, we will not be doing the distribution for individual candidate yard signs. I would say reach out to those candidates. On our website, stldems.org, we have all of our candidates listed and each of their information where you can find them. If you go on our social media page, all of our current 42 candidates that we have running in November, we have their Facebook page and social media pages linked as well, so you can connect with them that way. I would encourage you to reach out to them and not only ask for a yard sign, but ask, how can you help? I'm sure they would love to have your help in whatever aspect you're able to get involved. The St. Louis County Dems will have a couple yard signs that are more broadly focused. We're going to be launching them in probably about the next week or so here. Basically ones that say, this house votes for Democrats, you're not alone, things like that, to help us expand the brand of the Democrats across St. Louis County. As part of campaigns, knocking on doors is one of my favorite things that I love to do. And one of the most common responses we get at the doors is, I had no idea there were other Democrats around me. Well, guess what? The person just next door said that before, or the person just up the street also said that same thing. We need to do a better job at letting people know we are out here, we exist, we are proud to be Democrats, and that we are doing everything we can to elect and vote for Democrats. And so we'll be having yard signs to help promote the Democratic brand and get the word out there that, we need to vote for more Democrats.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Oh, are there any in the chat? Sydney?
One says, what do you know about the We the People PAC?
I am not familiar with the We the People PAC. If anyone else on the call is familiar with them, feel free to jump in, but I'm not familiar with them.
I'm not sure what that is either. And then the other question is the spot in Chesterfield by the factory available to us? It was used 2 years ago.
We did have a great space out there, and Sydney was actually our office manager for that space. She did a great job helping to build amazing community out in the Chesterfield area. That is a spot that was used. However, just logistically, it was very far all the way out in Chesterfield and not very central to many of the other areas that we were needing to focus on at the time. And so to have an office all the way out in Chesterfield and still needing to go knock doors all the way down in Oakville, that's about a 45-minute drive for somebody to go from the office down to the turf that they would need to be in. So ideally, we're looking for an office right around Highway 270 and 44. That gives us equal access-ish to kind of West County and South County areas without too far of a drive. But we're open to all kinds of opportunities, or if people have options, I'd love to discuss.
It looks like LaDonna has an idea. She said, can we rent space from a labor union hall?
LaDonna and I actually talked about that just a couple days ago. That was a great idea, and that is absolutely something we're looking into. I know the UFCW hall is on Manchester and Weidman, right in the heart of Ann's district, and we would love to have a space there. And so definitely following up with that conversation to see if that's a space we can at least use for the next couple months.
Great. Any other questions? The chat, I guess the chat's taken care of at this point. Very good.
Hey, I
Mike, I
just had a
appreciate
quick,
everything you're doing. Yes.
sorry, Harvey. The question about, was it "we the people" pack? Do they mean will of the people? I'm not sure who typed that or who asked that. Because that is a new pack called Will of the People. And there was an article about it in the Missouri Independent about 5 days ago. So if that is what they're talking about, that article was very thorough.
It was Cheryl Fogarty. I don't know.
Yeah,
if she-
that was me. That's the one. I got the name wrong. And I read the article and I just wondered, are they legit?
Oh yeah, very legit. It's
Okay.
I'm familiar with the people and the money and the organization behind it. So it's
Okay.
definitely a legitimate organization. Yeah, and they're working they're being very targeted.
Okay. Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome.
And sounds great. I will just take a moment, Mike, while you're still on. This is one of the events that Mike mentioned. I'm not sure which one went up. South County Blue. Should be able to see that right now. And if you're interested in learning more, you can RSVP at bit.ly, BIT, I guess that's a period or an underline. I can't tell. It's small on my screen. Um, or basically go to stldems.org, correct, Mike?
Yes. So each candidate is doing their own outreach and push for it, as well as HDAF, House Democrats Action Fund, as well as St. Louis County Dems. We figured, if we each put it out in different channels and everybody was responsible for recruiting their own volunteers, then we could get a much broader reach to folks. And so lots of places you can sign up for it, lots of places you can get more information. But yeah, that's one of them.
Okay, excellent. And I will go on to the STL Dem site and see if I can put together a list of all these things that are happening and send them out to the folks who are registered for this meeting. Also, right prior to the meeting, everyone should have received a flyer for the upcoming Unity event. United We Stand on August 27th. And that is sponsored by St. Louis County Democratic Central Committee. So hopefully you all receive that in your email right prior to the meeting. Okay. And Mike just put up in the chat where you can learn more. Last call for questions for Mike. Okay, Mike, thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the task on. I know it's not an easy one.
Thank you guys for all the work you're putting in to help us push the Democratic brand forward. It's amazing to see the amount of momentum that we've been witnessing just in the past couple of years alone. I know Missouri sometimes seems like a difficult place to, exist sometimes, but I believe there are better days coming to us very soon. And it's thanks to folks like you, Harvey, and Sydney, and Tracy, and LaDonna, and Nicole, and so many folks who have been stepping up to keep the fight alive. And so thanks to each of you and all the supporters out here that are doing what we can to keep moving forward.
Before you go, there was a really good question that just popped up in the chat. How can we find out which candidates need the most help?
That's a great question. So the two events that we're doing, the South County and the West County Day of Actions, those are focusing on those 8 House districts that are not currently held by Democrats yet. And so those, I won't say any one candidate across all of our 42 are in more need of help than others, but those are races that we can flip from red to blue. We have opportunities also on our county council. We have John Keeney, who's running in County Council District 7 out in the West County area. That's a seat that we can flip from red to blue. We also have Mark Osmak in County Council District 3, which is kind of the central corridor along a lot of Tracy McCreary's district as well. That race is absolutely very close. We know that a win is possible with that one. Again, if we have enough support and folks stepping up to help fund those campaigns and volunteer with those campaigns. And then absolutely our congressional district to defeat Ann Wagner. Fred Wellman was able to win the primary, and so we're excited to unite behind him and do everything that we possibly can to continue driving up votes, not only in our flippable districts where we need them, but in some of our safe blue seats too. The more blue votes that we can squeeze out of every single household absolutely is what we're going to try to find. So those 8 districts for the House, our 2 county council districts, and our congressional district, I would say, are our biggest ones.
And if I could just add to that, this is very much a synergistic approach, like everything that Mike and the House Democrats are doing, besides directly helping those House Democratic candidates, almost all of those state rep districts kind of are part of my Senate district, so it will help me out. It'll also help out Fred Wellman. It'll help out the different amendments and the proposition that's going to be on the ballot as well. So at this point, anytime you're talking and engaging with voters, it's going to help the whole team.
Right. We know it has to be here in Missouri, not only a top down, but also a bottom up approach, that we've got great candidates on the ticket, but we just need to do everything that we can to support them in the most local ways as possible. And so that's where the townships come in. That's where the House districts come in. We know that the congressional campaigns are running strong logistical campaigns to work alongside. We're in contact with them every single day about what their strategy is, what they're needing, and how we can best support. And so, just like Tracy said, the most that you can do to support any of these races, just get out there and get involved with the campaigns themselves.
Excellent. Any other questions? The last call. Okay. Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate it. Okay, and with that, we have some extra time if folks want to just chat about what's on your mind. We can do that. The meeting is still being recorded. If that makes anyone uncomfortable about speaking what's on their mind, I'm more than happy to stop the recording and keep this amongst us. Us, how many people are on? Us 20 some odd folks, 25 or so. And we want to just, what are you thinking about the upcoming elections? What are you thinking about? Oh, I don't even want to start talking about our robber baron in chief over in Washington. I think I just let my voice be heard. Okay, well, you know what? Take the next half hour, go onto the stldems.org site, go look at the upcoming events and sign up. Let's go help these candidates win. And with that, Sydney, you have any closing comments?
Thank you all so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. See you.